Hello and welcome to the Engineering Futures podcast. I'm your host, Paul Barker, and I'll be helping you explore the world of manufacturing by introducing you to successful people from across the sector. We'll touch on everything from personal experiences and professional challenges to contemporary issues affecting the sector, careers advice, and practical steps for employers who are looking to attract the top engineering talent. Join us as we get to know the people who have made a difference within the sector.
Okay, so welcome to the latest episode of the Engineering Futures podcast. Delighted to welcome my guest, Murat Islam, who's here to talk us through his experiences as an engineer and get his thoughts and insights. So if we just kick off, Murat, if you just kind of quick introduction, kind of who you are and what you do.
Sure. Thank you very much for inviting me to this, Paul. It's been a pleasure. I am Murat Islam. I'm a mechanical design engineer by training. I'm actually originally from Turkey, so I came into the UK in 2009, so a long time ago. I've been engineering for over nearly 14 years now. So currently working for John Crane UK Limited as a lead engineer in the power transmission couplings department, dealing with rotating machinery equipment. In the past, I worked with Airbus, wing manufacturing, lean manufacturing, that kind of good stuff. I worked in oil and gas industry, renewables industry, working on designing cable protection equipment. So I'm heavily involved with design, engineering, research and development, product development, that kind of interesting projects. So that's probably in essence of what I do.
Okay, excellent. So we'll kind of get cracking with the kind of, the questions that I've got to kind of the discussion points for today. And I'll just kind of kickstart with it's my usual opener, but what or who inspired you to pursue a career in engineering?
It is, I think, initially really my brother. As a child, we used to play with toys. We didn't have that much money, I guess. We had to repurpose a lot of toys to make new toys or make them a bit more exciting for ourselves. And I remember him sort of taking some cars apart and taking the electric motors out and playing with wires, even soldering sometimes. I think tinkering with him inspired me to be a bit more creative and explorative, I guess, and set me out in the career path of engineering. But leading up to actual studies of engineering, I think it was the people around me. I had relatives in engineering, and it is like very well respected career path where I am from, in Turkey. So engineering for me was the right choice because I was quite interested in physics, maths, and all those fields that are relevant to engineering. I wasn't 100% sure in mechanical engineering. I was initially thinking maybe I should be a computer engineer because I loved playing chess on my computer, Windows 98, if anybody remembers. But then found my way to mechanical engineering in the end, and I absolutely love it. I'm totally passionate about mechanical engineering.
Yeah, so well, that's interesting. Kind of taking cars apart and soldering. That's pretty cool. So you had a soldering gun, then, did you? At home?
Yeah, my brother had all sorts of little bits and bobs hanging around, like hobbyist kits, really. And we didn't have like a big workshop or anything like that. We were literally in our bedroom, working together on these things, tearing things apart and see if we can rebuild them in a different way. That's how it really started, I think.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And then, so obviously from Turkey originally, and then kind of moved over to the UK. So I suppose I'd be keen to find out. I mean, something that you just mentioned then actually about engineers being very respected in Turkey. Love to get your thoughts about, what were your challenges making the transition over to working in the UK? But also as well, do you feel that engineers are as well respected in the UK as they are in Turkey?
Yeah. I will take the second question first because I feel people in engineering are much more respected in Turkey than they are here. They feel engineers are highly trained, highly qualified to deal with difficult challenges. They always find it a very stable, strong career that provides an income and good lifestyles in Turkey compared to other professions, I guess. Almost comparable to doctors and lawyers, but there is that tendency towards those careers as well. But when you come to the UK, you feel like you're compared to somebody in actually a technician's role. You feel a bit feeling low about it, really. Why engineering is not as well regarded in the public's opinion? Um, Maybe it is because they see a lot of significant engineering developments in the UK. Maybe that's one reason. They want to see something significant to make sure somebody is like a high-end engineer. Otherwise, honestly, they can't seem to make the difference between a plumber or an electrician or a mechanical design engineer as such. Which is obviously difficult. And when I came to the UK from Turkey for the first time, it was probably the biggest challenge for me because I had to leave everything behind. That is includes my friends, my family, obviously, everything I was used to. I had to leave them all behind and think about how can I make my life here. But the way I came here was actually a bit different as well. I didn't actually intend to stay in the UK when I first came here. I intended to utilize my scholarship to do my master's and a PhD study and go back to Turkey. So education-wise, I was well set. I knew exactly what engineering is about. I had really good technical skills from the university I studied in Turkey. I had good enough English level, but still I had to do a lot more study on understanding the culture, how people actually speak, their accents, but also the history, because when you discuss things, you actually talk about things happened in the past and refer to them. And if you are not aware what the history is, you just don't relate very well. So I spend a lot of time with people in hospitality industry, actually, because I use that as my opportunity to get more involved with the public, with the normal people who could teach me the local vocabulary, working experiences, and how the life in the UK really is. I mean, I had to do a life in the UK test when I became a citizen here quite a while later. And you realize actually there is just so much you don't know about the country. And it's eye-opener, really, what you are told and what the real country is actually living like. There is a massive contrast as well. So I had to remove all my biases that I had. And I am still removing some of those biases that probably still with me. There are so many unconscious biases, and we just have to work through them. So I think socially bigger challenges. Technically, I didn't have that much challenge, to be honest. I felt like in my studies, I was very well compared to other like British students, let's say. So that wasn't a problem at all. It is just the social aspects mainly and people relationship skills. That was the biggest challenge.
Okay, and then in terms of, so I suppose just going back a little bit then. So at the point where you were kind of inspired and intrigued by engineering and by what an engineer does, what was the kind of stages from education to then this, being able to pursue a career as an engineer? How did that happen, and what did that look like?
Okay. If I really think about it, when I graduated, in my last years of my bachelor's degree, I actually took lessons from the last term to reduce my workload study-wise. So I could concentrate on my work-related skills a bit more, like the English language, maybe practicing some um, like working for companies, maybe. It was a massive challenge to find any kind of job after graduation. In Turkey, it is even more difficult than it is here because you have to know people, you have to have contacts to secure your very first job. Unless you are a scholarship student that's like incredibly bright, and there are, trust me, so many bright people in Turkey. It's very, very tough competition. It's difficult to find your real place. And coming to the UK to me was almost like a freedom given to me in a way. I managed to secure a scholarship from my government, and that really is the reason I managed to come here. and take a master's degree and set myself up into the proper working career. When I was in Turkey, there was a duration actually. I had to wait for nearly 6 months or so before my scholarship cleared, you see. I had to find a job. I actually helped my father in his grocery shop, which was going downhill rapidly. So going through the mental challenges with the business falling apart, there is also not a stable job that I could get hold of. I managed to secure a job in a residential property gas development project, kind of gas supply company, who actually hardly paid my fees as well. So there is also that financial challenge, the mental challenge, and I had to come out of all of that, leave my country, almost leave everybody behind, and try to support them at home while working away abroad. I had to save money. I had to earn money to send them some money at some point as well. So there were many challenges, and I had to find a reliable job, a permanent job, which was even more difficult actually. And I actually taken the hospitality jobs, like I said, but I actually managed to secure an engineering job as a draftsman. So I wanted to be a design engineer, but I couldn't find any jobs in that skill set. I had to be a mechanical draftsman who takes the 2D technical drawings, make them into a 3D model, and help the company understand their product a bit better. That actually was only a part-time job, maybe say 4 hours a week a job, not much. But it actually taught me so much, so many skills, practicing my CAD skills, like computer-aided design skills, as well as working with British people actually. It was a new mill, so it was actually hard going at times, but really, really amazing. That taught me quite a lot. Then I secured a contract role at Airbus. And securing that contract role was, I thought, an unachievable target. I never imagined that I would get a job like this. I applied for hundreds and hundreds of jobs. I handed out my CV to people. I went to even shops to get a job, to have a better income for a while as well. It is so tough out there. It's probably even tougher now than it was about 13, 14 years ago, nearly. So I think you need people helping each other here. You need mentors to help you, and finding those people is tough. But you have to find the right projects and right cause to be involved in, to get the right people in your network, and work from there, work with them. That's what I find actually through my career, the beginning of it.
So you just touched there on mentors. Was there anybody that you had in your early career that was a mentor to you?
I think, thinking about it, I stayed with people the first year in an accommodation. And actually, those people were not in engineering. There were maybe one or two people in engineering. And just talking to anybody around you about anything, to me, is almost like a mentoring relationship. You don't realize how valuable their inputs are, but you have to ask the right questions. So I find mentoring is all about you seeking out a mentor to let you achieve something. So you have to set your goals yourself, and then you have to find the right people to help you through that. Let's say if you're looking for a job, find the right person in a similar role, get their opinion maybe. I used literally, I shouldn't say use, but I talked to a lot of people around me to get some ideas and see where I can get. And the biggest mentors I have worked with, I guess, really was from the institutional mechanical engineers when I actually started getting involved with them as a volunteer. And those people incredibly helped me in ways that they didn't mean to help me. Probably they were just doing what they meant to be doing, and then I just watched them and learned from what they are doing, how they are doing it, just gaining skills from their examples. But sometimes they actually gave me some great ideas what I should work on. They thought, okay, maybe I would be better suited investigating this, that, or the other. And obviously I had to do the work myself. They are only guiding me, but that guidance is sometimes is all you need. Just a little bit of guidance and motivation and inspiration is all you need.
Why do you think it is so difficult for somebody to get their first job within the wide kind of vast engineering sector. Why is it so difficult for these people to be able to establish themselves and to find that first job?
Yes, I guess there is no clear route into a permanent job. There are many different ways of getting a permanent job. There are many demand out there from an engineering field. The industry needs engineers, but it is difficult to have the right skills in the workforce. So imagine somebody is just graduating, getting some academic skills from a university and hardly maybe test experience or physical involvement. How can they get involved with some hands-on job? It takes a lot of leap of faith from the employers actually initially to hire somebody. Um, and then the student themselves, they don't know what they want either. They don't set their goals clearly. They don't know what they like even. I mean, sometimes I interview new engineers and ask them these questions, and the things you hear, you feel like, do you really know who you are almost? You start with self-exploration, who you are, what you enjoy, what you like, and find the right people to be involved with it, and then create some maybe projects that are relevant to what you really want to be doing to showcase that you actually got some skills. You just need some further training and further development to get you to the right skill level for a job. But it takes a lot of courage people to take new people on board when you don't know what they are like and what they have actually delivered.
Yeah, and I think sometimes the actual recruitment process itself doesn't allow for people to be able to demonstrate, the motivations and that they are able and that they are keen and they want a chance and they want to learn. Because employers are so busy, they just want send me a CV and quick scan of the CV, no skills, no experience, next kind of thing. It feels very unfair to me, is what I would say. Because I think you've got a lot of capable, and I'm not saying young people, but you've got capable people out there that are looking for a career and could thrive and become a good engineer. But there's not always an easy way in.
No, there isn't. There isn't. Yes, engineering is a very exciting field, a lot to learn. You cannot possibly know everything. It is just you have to start from somewhere as well. Sometimes it is just find a job, start somewhere, and then see what you enjoy in that role and see if that role can take you somewhere that you really want to go.
So what would you add if there's any young engineers listening to this recording, what would your advice be to them if they're struggling to either secure their first position or they're an engineer that's ambitious and looking for a step up? What's your advice to those people?
The very first thing I will say is definitely reach out to your professional engineering institution. So there are nearly hundreds of professional engineering institutions out there. You will definitely find the field you would be interested in. For me, it was institutional mechanical engineers for sure. And get involved with the people there. Start with the young members if needs be. Start with the young members. Try to figure out if you can help them and how can you help them with their projects. It is important to obviously note down your own portfolio of work, what you actually delivered, what you actually achieved, put some time scales, put some maybe money spent on things, put the effort in and clearly state what you actually delivered as an objective, what was your objective. But you also need to have those connections with the institutions to learn and develop your skills in organization, in communication, in management, in leadership. So like when I first joined the committee, it was Lancashire committee actually in the Northwest region of the Institutional Mechanical Engineers. And just sitting there watching people go through some meeting minutes was once in a lifetime experience for me. I've never seen anything like that. Going through, like somebody actually going through a detailed meeting minutes, covering all aspects, getting like feedback from all the people in the committee regarding all the different various projects they are organizing. And I thought, if I was the secretary in that situation, what would I do? Because I was just a somebody new joining the meeting, never understood anything, obviously. I thought, okay, this secretary is talking so much and making so many notes. I would be scared to even write anything down at that time. Imagine for the first time I'm doing this. What can I learn from this person? Just even that thought in your head starts you thinking, how can I set myself a goal to be a secretary? What does it take to become a secretary? What does it take to become the treasurer? What does it take to become the chairperson or vice chair of a committee? How do you need to manage the environment, manage the people? How do you manage the situation so that you get there? It may not be a goal for somebody, but I thought I always wanted to be involved in an institution, in a committee. I didn't think I would actually chair a committee, and gradually, within 2 years' time or so, they actually made me the chairman for that Lancashire area committee. Because from the first day, I decided I need to be taking on an active role here because what they are doing is inspiring to me. These people working here together are inspirational, regardless of what they are doing. They really, really inspire me. And finding that passion, that inspiration is the key, really, to unlock a bigger opportunity for yourself. It is like there are many, many opportunities out there, but are you really ready for it? Do you really say comfortably, I am ready for taking on this role? And if you are not ready, why you are not ready? Can you set yourself an objective that's very timely, very specific? And one by one, you can take actions to tick them off and go through your list and then gradually wait for the opportunity because you can't just grab an opportunity unless it is there. It has to happen and you have to be ready at the same time. Only the lucky people seem to get all the opportunities, but it's not luck. It's because they are prepared.
Yeah, I think that's, really good advice, that, because I think there's a misconception about what it takes to get a job, or a misconception about what it takes to progress, and it's not a right. It's you've got to be able to prove that you are ready. You've got to. The hiring manager has to look at you as an individual and think, absolutely no questions, this person is ready. They are ready to do this job. And sometimes that's about going above and beyond. That's doing things outside of just the 9-to-5 job that right. Enables you to demonstrate that you are somebody that they need to do something with. And I suppose this brings me nicely onto talking about the volunteering work that you do. Now, you've done quite a lot of different things. Can you just talk to me a little bit about some of those groups, institutions that you're involved in, some of the initiatives and projects you've worked on? What is it about giving back that really reaches out to you and it kind of inspires you to continue doing it as well?
Yes. My key motivation to volunteer and give things back is to do with how people actually learn and retain information. So we do read, we do write, we do maybe practice and speak and etc. But actually, once you start training others or teaching or showing them how it is done, you fully grasp what the content is about. For me, unless you give back, you are not doing that. So for me, the biggest learning, biggest development I can actually get is through giving something back. For me, it is practicing volunteering. To be able to give back, you have to understand and appreciate everything about something. So volunteering especially is helping others, gives me massive joy and motivation to do it more anyway, because I know I clearly help people. Regarding my volunteering examples, I started with Lancashire area. I got involved with Greater Manchester area, power division of the Institute of Mechanical Engineers, and I now moved on to process industries division. So I'm still in touch with all those committees, all those young members board as well, all those people and committees. I almost became unintentionally the link between all of them as well at the same time. So I almost work like a business development manager while I'm clearly not. I help people with their professional registration journey, be it chartered engineer, incorporated, or engineering technician. I decided, okay, I'm a chartered engineer now. I became a fellow as well. how do I get more people into fellowship? I don't care about chartership anymore. I literally focus on how do I make people a fellow from a student. How do I get them to a fellowship? I have to motivate them in every aspect to give them the benefits of fellowship. But what does that really mean? Regarding process division at the moment, I am the vice chair of their board, which is something I never ever imagined becoming, to be honest. So you get involved with senior directors, CEOs that you would never ever get near as an engineer. You like these people in different industries working for different companies. I would never ever had any reason to talk to these people, but I'm working with them almost on a daily basis in different projects. So you can imagine how quickly your network grows when you keep delivering, keep giving back. It is not just you are giving, actually, you are learning and developing yourself. But in the meantime, people recognize what you give, what value you provide them with. It is the value proposition, isn't it? In business as well. In your own person, what value do you bring to the table, to your company, to your employer, to your family, to your friends? It is all the value proposition and how much can you really give, because you have to prioritize everything. You are right. I got involved with many sort of committees, but I set myself clear targets of how much I will get involved, how many projects or which projects I really am passionate about and I really want to be involved in. Some of them have to be related to my work because I have to justify why I'm doing it, spending so much time for the institution. And they do let me some time off as well to do certain things, but not everything. I do a lot of it in my own personal time, taking time away from my family, and I have to balance it all. And I can't balance it unless I communicate very well with every stakeholder, be it family, be it colleagues, be it volunteering friends. So there are a lot of skills you have to master over the years. It doesn't happen in a day. Like I've been volunteering over 10, 12, 14 years nearly now. Thinking about it's crazy actually how long it's been. But over the time, by practicing, by setting yourself the right goals, by working with the mentors and coaches around you, even like yourself, Paul, your advice is so valuable to me. This is how you end up setting yourself on the right career path or right journey for yourself. One day, maybe I will change all my objectives and set myself a totally different goal. Who knows? But at the moment, I know where I'm going, where I'm heading to.
So if we kind of just think about the kind of like the professional registration,
okay,
in terms of career development, in terms of for anyone out there who's maybe considering this or maybe have never considered it, why do you think they should do? You know, what is it about getting that accreditation, professional body accreditation, that you feel is so valuable?
Yes. It is unbelievably valuable, especially if you are somebody who likes to tick boxes. But also, it's not just that actually. Why I actually started doing the chartership was the process itself. There is a process to follow. There are competencies that I have to mark off to prove that I am actually competent. I'm actually able to work on significant projects and manage people and communicate and negotiate and follow the ethical principles as required. Um, I tell people, look, I know you are not even considering chartership right now, but let's spend half an hour together. Let me explain you what competencies are and why they are important. And as soon as I do that, they say, okay, I'm working on this. I will find all the projects I worked on, see how well they align with the competencies. The reason you need to do that is because you identify your gaps in your competencies, in your skill set. That gaps you identify then becomes your next smart objectives that you need to be achieving because they need to be there for you to evolve into your next position for your career progression. Like chartership is all about analyzing problems, delivering new innovative approaches, engineering solutions. It is all about managing people, managing tasks, but leading people and developing the people. That requires mentoring and coaching, obviously. It is all about communication. How do you communicate the proposals you have got? It's all about ethics. How do you make sure everything you do is within ethical principles, the code of conduct? How is it contributing to sustainability, for example? All those aspects, once you realize maybe you never got involved with, you start asking for projects from your managers. Look, I am interested in delivering something along those lines. Can I work on this project instead of the one you just gave me? You can educate your own manager. You can manage your own manager better by knowing what your skills gaps are and what you are good at as well. You can tell them, okay, I'm really good at this. I want to be involved in this area and practice my skills, but I would like to manage somebody I never managed before because I need it for my examples. But it's not just that. It's just almost like a leverage for him to approve it. It is how you leverage all these different information to set yourself the right goals, right projects, right objectives, and then working through them. And if you have a mentor who is reviewing your application, a sponsor maybe, they will make sure you are ready before you submit that application. So they will tell you exactly what you are missing, what examples you are missing. When I look at many applications, like for the first time they send me their application forms, I literally fill it up with red marks. I mean, it's almost like discouraging. Like there are so many things I put down as a note. It is because I want to make it very clear to them. You need to write down specific examples. What did you do? What are the specific things you delivered here? What numbers can you put down against it from the budget, from the time scale, from the number of people? How big was the project? What did you actually deliver in that project? I mean, people like to use beautiful words, telling I've done this greatly, I'm so amazing, I'm this, I'm that. But actually, it's not. We are not interested in that. We are just interested in the examples. The example itself will tell me that you are such a good engineer. I don't need to see or hear anything nice about you. I just need to see what you did. And then that will already tell me much more than what you can explain to me about yourself. So it is just giving people the opportunity and understanding of what delivering a project is about, why we are proposing a project, and what will that project achieve. Unless you have the appreciation of all those different aspects, you can never propose something useful. And that's what we want from engineers. We want them to propose new ideas, propose improvements to existing processes and projects, and solve the energy problem of today. Really, we need new technical challenges to take the humanity to a greater length, isn't it? So that's what it is.
Yeah, and you know, it's a great way to kind of identify and develop kind of future leaders within the organization as well.
That's right.
Especially in a time where recruitment and retention is such an issue. And this is something that I'm always harping on about. It's sometimes I think employers take their eye off the ball and they only see the requirements of the job, of production schedules and deadlines, etc. And something like this is a great way to allow talent to grow, to be in a structured way with deliverable outcomes that make them a better engineer and improving a range of skills to allow for progression.
Absolutely.
Do you think what do you think, in your opinion, what's the uptake like in terms of employers that do buy into kind of chartership? Do you think there's room for more awareness and for more employers to consider this as a pathway?
Yes. Oh, totally. There are some companies who run some monitored professional development schemes who are heavily involved with developing their people. Like the army is quite good at this, for example. There are some big defense-related companies who are quite keen on this because their industries are very well regulated. Like the nuclear industry would be quite keen on this. Oil and gas tends to be quite keen because they have a vast network of people globally who recognize these aspects. They need qualified people, proven to be qualified. So there are some other industries like manufacturing who are not that keen on chartership, for example. because they don't see the benefits, they don't understand the benefits. But if they understood that having more chartered engineers in your business will actually make it much more critical thinking, much more innovative, they will then realize actually there are massive benefits of pursuing these, supporting the engineers in their professional development, providing them the maybe application fees, and providing them with a mentor within the company maybe to develop their skills. There is so much more the companies can do about it, but I find it is down to people like me. It is down to people like me who are already chartered to go out there actively and seek people to mentor and develop. Because unless people like me reach out to people, those people will never have a chance to actually experience it, because nobody around them actually is in a chartered engineer status. Like, I talk to some people in companies that they tell me they don't have any chartered engineers in their company. They have no idea what that even means. They have no idea about professional registration schemes. And there are quite a lot of small businesses like this, especially small businesses. Usually the big businesses have enough people to introduce them to the idea at least. But it's literally down to people like me. So I think we all should take ownership of this and go out there and seek out mentees and then develop them in their career. It is down to us. I'm not even saying it's down to the institutions themselves. I'm literally saying it is down to the individuals like me.
So how much time are you spending kind of, are you advising employers, or are you kind of, contacting them? How does it work? What is, what role do you play?
So, I mean, I am not a business development manager as such, you see, so I don't need to contact any company. But because I'm volunteering with the institution and we attend events and activities, we run technical events and we get lots of attendees. And those are the opportunities we have to promote professional registration, for example. Then somebody who starts thinking about the idea can reach out to me. I mean, I'm available on LinkedIn. Anybody can find me on LinkedIn and drop me a message, and I'll be more than happy to sponsor them and help them. And there are many people like me out there who are willing to help out. It is just people taking the initiative as a mentee to define what they want to achieve and seek out the right individuals to support them. So it is, again, it is down to the individuals. There is so much the institutions can do, engineering council can do, but that's limited. It is down to the individuals, and businesses can try their best to align their business objectives and make it like an official scheme. But I don't see that working for many companies. I still find it is much more important that we find the sort of like a industry liaison officer from the company. How can we turn one person from that company into an industry liaison officer? That should be my objective, for example. And then once I get him on board or her on board, how can I then allow him or her to use the right tools to reach to more people in his business or around them? So it is all about spreading from an individual. It starts from the family almost, and it grows out. It is never the government you should blame, I feel, sometimes. It starts with the individual homes, individual person. There is only so much they can do as an organization. It's down to us taking the ownership.
Okay. So just moving, kind of changing script a little bit, but and I was interested to see this when I was looking at when I booked you in as a guest and kind of then having a bit of a nosy on your LinkedIn profile, but saw that you'd actually worked as a teacher.
Oh yes.
How did that happen? Because teaching, education is something that I'm kind of very passionate about. But be interested to see how that opportunity came up. What made you decide to do that? How did you find the experience? And would you ever consider a return to education?
Right. I think teaching is one of, I feel like it's probably the most important career out there, really. It really is. It is the route to develop others. For me, as an engineer, I found teaching skills being the most critical thing for me to develop the skills I was probably lacking or not having enough of. For example, planning, organization, and also managing expectations of people you don't actually know, and identifying what the people you don't know actually want to know, and identifying what their skills really are. So taking a real interest in your student. So teaching is almost the penultimate career for any mentor or coach. If you want to develop your staff, the first thing you should try to do is become a coach or a mentor. And probably the teaching experience will give you all of that in a single bundle. Because you start with mentoring students, you give them the information, you let them run with it, and then they will learn more, and you will teach them how to learn, and they will learn their own stuff. And all you can do afterwards is coaching them. Okay, you should try this, try that, and they will go out and do their own learning. So mentoring soon turns into a coaching. So teaching, especially teaching a classroom, is quite an event, really. When you first enter a room full of people, especially if you're an introvert like me, people may not believe this, but I'm an introvert actually. Um, you feel totally overwhelmed by the presence of people, the social aspect of it. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I always find myself pushing myself towards out of my comfort zone. And teaching was that comfort zone, sort of uncomfortable zone for me. And it taught me so much. I thought I grew up as a teacher as well. So I feel like I can teach much better now, and that will help people I'm leading right now in my own business. I only spent a couple of hours a week teaching. I taught maybe 4 hours at most in the evening, just teaching adults in a classroom. That's how I started it 2 years ago, about 3 years now, I guess, for a language school, because I had some connections in a language school. Because I'm a foreign student myself, I know how to learn the stuff. So it shouldn't be that difficult to actually teach it. So what I've done was a simple teaching qualification in English. I trained to teach students English, but I only taught Turkish students. Sorry, I only taught foreign people learning Turkish. I never taught English in my life. I learned how to teach English, but I only ever taught Turkish. So it's all about learning a skill rather than a specific thing to teach. How I had to literally redevelop my whole content around my students all together. I had a basic book to follow initially, but that book, now I would look at it and I would say, everything I've got now has hardly anything to do with that book now. I had to totally rewrite the whole book for my own needs, for my students' needs. And that is a massive skill. It's all mentoring and coaching. And I feel like I will always keep teaching as a side career. And at the moment, I've got one-to-one adult, just one-to-one, just single adult, because I want to keep practicing. I don't want to lose that skill. I want to keep working with them and see where I can take them next. And the point you realize you taught them something, and a few days later or a few weeks later, they use that, you feel like this is a massive achievement. Because they are growing, you can see it clearly, and they gain much more confidence in what they are doing. And that's, to me, is a brilliant feel. And I don't want to lose that. And if I ever lose my engineering career for one reason or another, I can always go back to teaching, I feel. It's not going to be that difficult to have some income. It's not the best income probably I get, but it is still some income. So I feel like I always have a side career. And for all you know, I may end up becoming a consultant after retirement, and I will use that teaching skill into developing a course content in a totally different way. So I have an open objective here, actually. I'm trying to work towards maybe that I don't even realize myself. So teaching is amazing, just amazing.
So go on, then we're moving on to goals. So you're someone who has achieved a lot, achieved an awful lot. And
compared to some people
I
I know,
imagine you've
hardly
got,
anything.
yeah, I imagine you've got quite you're quite curious and got an active mind and things, which I can kind of, which resonates with me. But what does the next 10 years look like for Murat Islam? What are you going to do, either personally or professionally, in terms of goals and achievements? What is the left to achieve, and how are you going to get there?
I mean, what I really want to be doing is helping companies, businesses, countries develop engineering solutions of the next generation. So developing the technology further. I always want to be involved in that in one way or another. But I would like to lead the people in that. I may not always be the engineer doing the engineering work of it, but I have to have a good understanding. So I'm still developing my engineering skills. But my ultimate goal, I believe, is leading the people, managing them, and directing them eventually. So there is that feel that I'm going towards a director position maybe in the future and maybe beyond. Depends on how things work out. In retirement, I may even set up something for myself, a small business, who knows? But I really want to make sure I'm contributing towards the next generation of technical solution, engineering solutions, one way or another. Be it in the oil and gas sector, be it in the process industries, be it in the energy sector, wherever it is that adds real value to today's demand, today's challenges. That's what I want to be involved in.
Okay, that sounds quite exciting, and I think definitely a need for something like that. What about kind of, personal? Is there anything personal that you would, any goals that, everyday things that you would like to achieve?
I mean, personally, it is like I'm already getting the nice holidays I would want with my job. Thanks to my job, it's a good job that allows me to take holidays and allow me to see different countries. I have a motorhome that I travel around the UK all the time. I have enough budget, I guess, for my long haul holidays. So there isn't hardly anything probably I'm expecting in life than what I've already got regarding personal aspects. It is just making sure my family are happy and enjoying themselves as well. That's always in my mind. How can I support them? How can I help them so that we enjoy our lives together? And mainly maybe I spend too much time on professional aspects in engineering field, and sometimes I may get comments from them. Okay, let's slow this down a bit, take it down a notch. You spend a lot of time with people. Let's spend some family time. And when that happens, I always say, "Yeah, you're right. Let's do it. Let's do it."
Well, it's nice to have a motorhome and to have that opportunity to be able to just set off and and venture around the country. Where's next on the hit list?
We were going to go to London actually, but I think that will be postponed now. So wherever we feel like close by, I guess, maybe Blackpool, Southport, somewhere nearby that has some water around it, some seaside to see. I think that will be our next stop for the motorhome in the short term. But we go all over the place. We go to Scotland, Cornwall, wherever we feel like. But we have to plan all that in. Obviously, it's a lot of planning involved, and thankfully, my wife is very good at planning. I learned a lot from her, probably.
No, very good. Well, I think that kind of like wraps everything up for this conversation, Murat. So, thank you very much. Really enjoyed that. Really great to hear your story, and definitely inspiring to hear about the work that you are doing outside of the day job, and kind of commend you on that, and hope it continues to kind of be a success for you.
Thank you very much, Paul. I think this has been a great reflection for me as well. So thank you for the opportunity. It's a great podcast, and keep it going. Thank you.
No problem. Cheers, Murat.
Cheers.